Welcome to Angela Duncan, who is actually just down the street from me. We probably should have done this live, but you could have just said that because you are approximately 6 blocks away.
Yeah, something like that. 5 minutes.
6 blocks away. So we have 3 questions, 20 minutes or so to get them done. What's up, Rodrigo? And we're going to get those going as we speak on Mark, Get Set, Go. So actually, no, we're not going to start asking the questions. First thing we're going to do is I'm going to have Angela tell you her backstory. Take a minute or two. Tell us about you.
Yeah. So I like to start off my story. First off, Nick, thank you so much for saying yes. I did ask to come on here today. So I'm excited to finally join your 20-minute showdown and should be interesting today. A little bit about me. I am a survivor of childhood abuse and trauma. My mother was an alcoholic. My stepfather abused me. I grew up in poverty and we moved more times than I even can remember. So when I was 18, I moved out of that situation and I put myself through a 5-year plan to graduate through college and worked nonstop, 2 jobs, 3 jobs constantly. And I always knew that what was my driver was that I never wanted to live in poverty again. So I learned pretty early on that you needed to learn about money. And I went to school, got my finance degree. I thought I wanted to be a stockbroker on Wall Street, joined Bank of America and an incredible group of financial advisors. They taught me a lot. I went through the tech bubble and learned very quickly that that was not the avenue that I wanted to learn money or teach money. And then I met a boy who moved me to Florida. And we had 17 years of a successful marriage and we grew companies together. I've had my real estate license since 2007, went through that housing bubble. And then the marriage didn't last, the friendship did, thankfully. And I moved to Miami, started over, and here I am.
Great delivery. Wow, you've done this a couple times. I'm excited. Welcome, Germany. You got some fans here in Germany. Welcome, Adam Gonzalez, as well from Los Angeles. Well, what a well-thought story and perfectly delivered. And I'm going to share with you all my story for those that I haven't connected with yet before that are watching this. I am Nick in Miami, dad of 2, entrepreneur, originally from Grand Rapids, Michigan. Blue-collar, middle-class upbringing. All 4 of my grandparents worked at the same factory, so you get the idea. Dad, uncles, brothers. I found entrepreneurship through the direct sales networking industry at 18. Got started, fell in love, had no success. And then just figured it out the hard way by trial and error, just repetition. Finally, it worked. Made my first $1 million in the industry at 25. Company went out of business. I bought the assets of the company with a couple partners. We created a company that lasted 15 years called Bestselling. The sub-brand in that was the Body by Body 90-Day Challenge. We were the godfathers of challenge-based marketing. We own challenge.com. We did a couple billion in sales, 19 countries, 3.5 million customers, created 75 millionaires. It was so much fun. And every level of peak and valley that you could experience in a decade. And, I like doing awesome podcasts and showdowns and shares because there's so much experience to pull from. I've recently started a sales accelerator where our number one focus is I built a sales technology that connects real estate brokers and real estate agents to the top installers in the country for solar and does a commission split between the two. Let's get rolling. Okay. Who goes first? I ask you first. Okay. We're going to start diving right into your bread and butter. Tell me, how critical is financial literacy? And we're going to say specifically for females, and why? Why are you so passionate about financial literacy? Why so passionate for financial literacy for females?
Yeah, so I used to think it was because I came from poverty and I never had money. So I never, ever wanted to be in poverty again. I have a daughter who's 20. I didn't want her to have to go through the pain that I did growing up in poverty. But I wrote a book this year called Empower Your Money. And my why really came out when I did that book. For me, it was my mom. I never, ever want a woman to be in a situation, I feel like she's stuck in a situation because she has a lack of finances or a lack of financial education. So I'm very passionate about teaching women about money because oftentimes women will stay in abusive relationships a lot longer than they should have because they just don't have the means to get out of that relationship. And so this is my mission. Money is my mission. I want to make sure that women everywhere just have some simple financial education so that they can leave any situation that doesn't serve them.
And that is empower her money, correct?
Yes. Well, the book was Empower Your Money, but yes, my brand is Empower Her Money.
Oh, okay. That's because I typed one and they switched it while I was typing it right now. And okay, let's go three really important principles, or you decide 1 to 3 most important principles from the book to empower your money and her money. Take it away. That's a follow-up question that doesn't count as number 2.
Okay. Hey, your platform, your rules. The first one is invest in yourself. I'm a huge believer in seeking information. You know, if you don't have money, I'm a YouTube graduate, so YouTube is free, platforms are free. Figure out what it is that you want to learn more about and become a student. For me, I am going to be a student forever, so I definitely feel like that's important. Number 2, you got to pay attention. Whether you are, so many people are in credit card debt, it's crazy. Like, they haven't even looked at their statements. To me, that's just, you know, something that you should be doing every day, if not weekly, if not monthly. That's step number 2. And then 3 is just get in the right rooms with the right people. I know a lot of people say that, but I look for opportunities and I look for the right opportunities to say yes to, but I seek out those people so that I am always learning. I'm always leveling up my game. Everyone has a story and I love learning about different people's stories. So that would be number 3.
Someone jot this in the comments. She's giving you the magic here, but somebody respond back. Welcome, Marvin. Somebody give us the responses that she just gave back in the comments. Number 1, invest in yourself. Tell us number 2 again, just a short line.
The number 2, oh gosh, I already forgot.
It was check your statements.
Look at your bank statements. And then number 3 is getting in the right rooms, finding the right mentorships.
I'm going to put know your statements or know your numbers. And then number 3 is get in the right rooms. Okay. Give us an example of getting in the right rooms.
Well, our mutual friend who introduced us, Melissa Wagi, I went to an event to see Marcus Lemonis speak, but I honestly walked away with more information watching her on a panel. And I'm a pretty shy person, so I really wanted to meet her. So the next day of the conference, I brought my best friend with me, and I told her, go make friends with Melissa because I want to get to know her. So she did, and that was just me seeking out someone else that I just knew had a powerful story that I wanted to be in her world.
Yes, beautiful. So, team, empower your money. Angela Duncan, buy the book, invest in yourself, know your numbers and your statements, get in the right rooms. And we got a bunch of people here that are sounding off in the comments with the information. So that's my first question for you. So hit me with your first question. I'm ready.
Okay, so we've only known each other a few months. I've been to Growth Wednesdays. I've watched you on the Showdown and your podcast. You are very business driven. You're like hugely focused on your goals. You've had massive success. You've lost it. You got it again. Why are you so driven still today? Like, I feel like you probably have enough money that you could retire, but you're still so focused and so driven. What drives you?
Okay, so I'm gonna answer that from a business answer, because the goal driven side of me is relatively balanced, right? If you look at my goals and you look at, say, the top 100, you'd be like, oh, he's got a list of goals that are health and fitness. He's got a list of goals that are family. He's got philanthropy. So there's relatively balanced. But what currently drives me right now in this moment, it's actually very specific, and I can answer that question very specifically. Some people, have some awareness to this, but I want to prove that I can build a 9-figure-a-year company that's in a traditional business format that is not network marketing or not MLM. So since I was 18 years old, and I still am active in the network marketing space. In fact, I'll be in Italy with our top 1,000 salespeople this weekend in my network marketing, venture. But I have 25 years there. And up until 3 years ago, I had never done anything except passive investing. I got investments and a bunch of stuff, tech, real estate, blah, blah, blah. But I've never done anything where I led a company outside of that industry. So I want to prove that I can build at least a 9-figure-a-year company in a non-MLM format and without my prior partners. Not because I like Blake Mullins, my best friend, brother. He'll passively and I'll passively be partnered in everything we ever do forever. But that's just can I do it? And it's just it's a can I do it thing? Can I do it in a new industry? And can I do it without the exact same partners? And that would prove a lot to me. It has nothing to do with anyone else but myself. Follow-up question there. Did that answer the question?
No, it did. Yeah, for sure. I'm in the same boat right now, so I understand.
Okay. Any follow-up to that?
No follow-up.
Okay, let's jump right into your divorce. Let's get dirty here. Let's go. All right. Tell me, how moving from a 17-year relationship, and you referenced this, so you made this easy. So otherwise, I probably would have not said let's jump into your verse, but you actually talked about it in your intro story. How has ending a 17 relationship and business partnerships affected you in a positive way to create the person you are today, from the successful woman, leader, and thinker that you are?
Yeah. So first I'll say this, coming out of that long of a relationship, and I think you could probably relate to this a little bit too, is I lost not only my partner, but I lost my business. You know, he bought me out of the companies and we always built everything together. So the first part of it was like the darkest part. Like this is the darkest part of my life since I was a child.
Identity, like total identity.
Totally lost. Like I'm not a wife. I'm not the Duncan duo. I'm just by myself now. What the heck do I do? So it took like a good year for me to get out of that darkness. So as an entrepreneur, I knew I wanted to do something again. I knew I wanted to do to prove to myself, similar to you. So I think the positive that's coming out of that is it's really pushing me outside of my comfort zone. You know, I was always behind the scenes. So I'm not used to being the one on camera, not the one that's, you know, the brand and the face and everything of the company. And I'm in a completely different space than I've ever done before. So it's very uncomfortable, but I've had to push myself. And I've got a 20-year-old daughter. I love her to death. And for me, that's part of my driving factors. I just want her to know that even when you're in your darkest hour, that you can still come out on top, that there's light at the end of the tunnel. As long as you put in the work and you have the drive, like I just want to prove to myself that I can do this and that something great is going to come out of having a long relationship. I learned a lot, but now it's time for me to stand out on my own 2 feet and do it on my own.
And you're doing it. I mean, it's interesting to me that you weren't, you know, a major voice or a major part of the brand, let's say from a speaking perspective, et cetera, because it's what you're doing now. Now you're throwing yourself into the fire of building a brand, speaking, sharing, leading. And so that's really intriguing. And especially because a lot of what you shared, I can relate, not personally. My ex-wife went through the same thing from an identity perspective, right? So her identity was our company, our business, et cetera. And she had to create an entire new identity inside of her career, to which she has done, and she's a badass, right? She's a boss, but she is very vocal, and she had as much camera time, stage time, microphone time. You know, we had to pull that thing out of her hands, right? So, you know, you stepping out into that space for the first time is actually really awesome. And you know, you said your daughter was one of those driving forces, right? To be a great example for her, being able to prove to yourself that you could do it. Is there anything more or deeper inside of that said, you know, there's no way that, you know, there's no way I'm not going to have a loud voice out there in the marketplace of results and success and leadership. Go a little bit deeper there.
Yeah, so I think a big part of it is because he was I was the face with him, but he was the one on stages. He was the one that got interviewed. He was the one that did the TV. You know, people wanted information, they went to him. And I believe the story that he told me, which is you're better behind the scenes. Like you are not the speaker. And let me take this, you know, we would do commercials, like radio and TV commercials, and it would take me like 5 and 10 takes, but it would take him 1. So I believe the story that was not my strength, and I lacked confidence. And so I allowed for him to tell my story instead of me telling my story. And now that he's not here, I have to do it. So it's like sink or swim, right? You either have to do it or I can just go retire. So, but I'm not going to do that. I don't have that in me. So I really had to step up to the plate and build that confidence. And I did that through mentorships. I did that through therapy. You know, I'm not afraid to say that I've had therapists that have really helped me get out of my own way, to get out of my own mindset, to change that narrative and no longer hear that story, but to give myself a new story, a new identity. And all of that had to come from confidence. And me taking that good year off first to just figure out, who am I? What do I stand for? How do I want to run a business? What's different about that than I was before? And just really building that confidence. And now I feel like, you know, I've got this like big light behind me and I'm just going to shine it bright, and wherever it goes, it's just going to go.
Bam, bam. I like it. All right. I'm ready for number 2. Hit me.
All right. So I'm going to take you off the business route here for a moment. I literally wrote down like 15 questions. So I'm going to go with this one.
I believe actually that you have a list literally of 15 questions.
I'm a DC personality. I'm very driven and direct, but I have to be ready. So,
Yes.
non-business
I'm
question.
DI, high D, high I. That's about it.
Yeah. So I know you have a great network of friends and mentors. So thinking about your current network of people, if you had to go to say, like, think of Survivor meets Naked and Afraid, like you are stuck in the Amazon and you can only bring 2 of those people with you, your life depended on it, who would you pick and why?
Well, this is nature based, right?
Yeah, like you need survivor skills.
Oh, I mean, that changes everything. It might not be any of my closest friends.
They have to
Like,
say yes, though.
like, I know exactly. It's gonna be Sean, Sean, the founder of CrowdPoint, which is, you've met Nitty several times.
Yes.
So Nitty's business partner Sean is an ex, or not ex, you never an ex, is a retired special ops Army Ranger. So that's all I need. I just like, all I need is Sean, and Sean is gonna make sure that we live, and that's the end of that. I think another one would have to be a female. So if we got Sean, I can actually take any female that doesn't have any real gifts in nature, because we're all going to live because Sean's there. I can't wait to cut this video and send it to him. Is the goal to get off the island? Is the goal just to survive? Because
Yes.
I'm certain that with Sean, we're going to get off the island very quickly. Like, it might just be a quick 2-day holiday. So, but I would definitely bring a female companion, so that I enjoy that energy, that exchange, and those interactions, and whether that's detailed or not, you can draw your own conclusions. But yeah, if I'm stuck in an island, it's not going to be with all dudes. So I'm gonna get the one dude that's going to keep us alive, and then a female counterpart that's going to have great conversation, dialogue, and experiences with. So how's that for an answer?
So you're not going to name the female. Okay, I'll give you that.
Maybe she's on the island. she might be on the island. So, do you have a follow-up question to this? This is actually a really random question. Is there a follow-up question to that?
I like
answer it. Okay.
You did. I like the random questions because it kind of throws you off a little bit. You're so business driven that's the environment I normally see you in. I just wanted to throw something non-business in there.
Did I answer it in the context of how you're asking it?
Yes, you did. You did.
Okay. So shout out to all of the military vets out there or active. I'll take any of y'all with me. Just make sure I stay alive. I don't know how to start a fire. I'm fast and I'm strong, but I have zero knowledge of anything nature-based. Don't tell me what leaves to like. Don't tell me to go pick things to eat. Like, we're gonna die. Like, but if you say like, if you're like, hey, go collect, these things, or carry things, or build things. Well, no, you don't want me to build shit. I can't even pound a nail. So yeah, I'm relatively useless in all these regards.
Yes.
So yeah, you've exposed me. Thank you for the exposure. So okay, my third question is, I want to go towards females, because I know that is the tip of the arrow.
I think this is your second question.
This is my second one?
Yeah, because I've only asked 2. Well, no.
Maybe. This is 3. Number 1 was
the divorce.
Personal finance. Number 2 was about what you learned, how you grew from your divorce. And then, what's up, Empress the Warrior? Empress the Warrior, she might be good out there in the woods. We have no idea. All right, so number 3 is, I want to go towards more the tip of the arrow. I know you're passionate about helping people. I know you're passionate about financial literacy for all people, but let's go tip of the arrow, which is niche for you, which is females. I want your best absolute positive, most important, most emotional, most direct, whatever direction you want to take this, pieces of advice that you can give to a female who is not where they want to be, who wants to become great in fill in the blank, who has these goals or dreams, but is fighting back against their own self-doubt, self-belief. Hit it.
Okay, so I have a couple, and the first one is mindset. I think a lot of times we can read, we can invest in ourselves, we can go to seminars and have mentors, but until we get our mindset correct, all of that information is useless. You can take all the action you want, but your mindset comes usually from a very young age. And so they say like your cognitive brain is developed by age 7. So if you can imagine a 7-year-old trying to run a business, that's not going to do any good.
Nicholas is 7 right now.
So imagine him running your finances, your books, like any of that.
No,
yeah, so that's not going to work. So money mindset is like the first thing. You've got to work on your mindset. You got to make sure it's positive. I'm huge on how I start my day. I'm totally focused. I get up, I make my bed, I let my dogs out, and I just sit in the backyard and I journal. And so the mindset piece of that to me is still a struggle for me today. So I start my day very positive. I write down my goals, and I write down grateful statements. So not only am I grateful for like what's going on right now. I mean, we live in the US and there's so many things, and think about like the rest of the world and what's going on. There's so many things in the US that we have immediate access to that a lot of other people don't. So I did this recently and started implementing this, and it sounds kind of funny, but I like say thank you to my car. I say thank you to the gas station, because these are things that not everybody in every country has, right? But I have access to it every single day. So mindset, being positive, being grateful is extremely important. And then also just as women, we love to help. Like I'm a heart-centered person. I run my business with my heart. I run my personal life with my heart, but we don't like to ask for help. I think men are more likely to ask for help than a woman is, but we give and give and give, but then we don't want to ask for it in return. So don't be afraid to ask. This is something that I've really had to incorporate this past year. The more that I ask for help, the more that I grow, the more that I can help other people grow. So the whole mindset piece of it first, the way I start my day, and also the way that I end my day, I think that's hugely important. I'm not a TV person. I don't have Netflix. I don't have any of those, Hulu, anything like that. I have the free version of YouTube, and I end my day watching funny stuff. So like ridiculousness, Impractical Jokers, Family Feud bloopers. Like what you put into your brain is so important at the end of the day, not just the beginning part of the day. You have to control your environment. Otherwise, it's just going to get you down. There's so much negativity around us that you could easily just lose yourself in all of it. So I think what's the saying? It's like you have to feed your focus, but starve the distractions. So making sure that what you want to focus on, you keep feeding it and feeding it. And I want to be positive. I want to be grateful. And when you surround yourself with similar people, then any of the negativity just tends to bounce out because there's just no room for it in my life. So making sure that information that my brain's receiving every day, I have to control it.
I love it. I'm going to go. Absolutely. So, and everything you mentioned was mindset based. So those were all mindset based things. And, I know you've been to enough events that I've done where my kind of formula is mindset plus skill set times leadership. So those were all mindset based. So let's go skill set. So what are some, I think I know what one of them is going to be, but give me a couple skill based things that the ladies need to master. They must master in order to become greatly successful in anything in business or sales professional, etc.
Yeah. So the first thing we hit on earlier was knowing your numbers. You need to know what your income is. You need to know what your expenses are, controlling your expenses and getting rid of stuff in your life that's just not important. That helps you a lot with the mindset, but those are the skills. It's like learning the basics about money, knowing where your foundation is today so that you can set goals and move to those goals, but you already know where you are today. You can't move towards a goal if you don't really know where you're starting. The example that a lot of people always say is about Google Maps. You can't tell Google Maps where you want to go unless it knows where you are today. So the skill set there is to know your numbers. And you don't need to be like super smart about finances. I don't need you to build out a spreadsheet. I love spreadsheets. That's not for everybody, but at least know what your numbers are today. Open the bank statements, open the credit card statements. What are you paying for that you actually don't need? And even coming out of my divorce, I've definitely gotten away from stuff. I used to live on the water. We had a $5 million house and lots of cars and crazy vacations. And then the divorce, the marriage ended. So obviously that wasn't as important to me today, but having the skill set to figure out what is it that's important to you in life. And all of it, it just comes back to mindset for me. So I guess I'm very mindset focused.
So the skill-based stuff for you is number one, financial literacy. Like, gotta have financial literacy. I'm going to push harder for a second skill. Give me a second skill, which is different than mindset, that you're like, look, have some mastery in blank. What would that skill be?
Confidence. I locked that for a long time.
Mindset.
I know.
That's mindset.
Well, I can't cook. I don't like cleaning. I mean, are those skills too? I don't know.
No, no. Okay, so let's go skills such as you have a deep understanding of team building, of recruiting, of selling, of like these are all things that are in your past that I think maybe you have a detachment from that past life and in that identity, but you have a deep knowledge of running companies, team building, recruiting, culture building. These are all skill-based things. Give me one more skill the ladies need out there if they're going to win.
Okay, so I put on an event this past weekend, Dominate, sold it out. I think the skill set behind that one is I'm very knowledgeable in like big picture, but also details. So I have to pay attention to both. But I also know what my skills are not. So hiring out the right teammate to run the parts of my business that I suck at. I don't like doing marketing. I don't like doing social media. So I have an assistant that does that. I like the numbers piece and I don't mind asking people and putting stuff together. So the detail part of it, but I have a branding coach that helps me see a bigger picture. How do I make my brand look better? I go to him. So I guess just hiring out, knowing what I'm good at, and then hiring out the rest. Otherwise, there's no way you can build a team just by yourself. You can't build a big business alone. It takes an empire behind it. So figuring out the right puzzle pieces to each of that part of your empire to build out a successful business.
Nice, nice. Hiring the right team. That's perfect. Outsource, right? And profits over wages added. Surround yourself with winners. Anyone else, by the way, I apologize. I usually do this. Who's got something to add? Throw it in the comments. What's a hard skill that if you're a successful female entrepreneur, sales professional, solopreneur out there, what's a hard skill that you encourage these ladies to learn if they're going to be successful in business or otherwise? All right, I'm ready for question number 3. Let's go. Let's do it.
All right. Do you want me to keep this business related or should I go back to the fun questions?
What do you think is best for everyone watching?
For everyone watching. Okay. So you're working on building this company. You know where you want to be, right? This yes. Next venture for you. Say 15 years from now, you've hit that success.
Yeah.
Someone's going to make a movie about you. What do you want them to highlight and who's playing you as the main character?
I mean, well, Matthew McConaughey might not be intense enough. So it could be Matthew McConaughey. But my mom thinks I'm very similar to Matthew McConaughey. That she said, I think that's my mom sees my more humoristic side a lot more than everyone else does. She does. But we'll go with McConaughey. And then, all right. And then what was the other question? What you said, what would you want people to take?
Highlights. What is it about your life that you would want other people to see in this movie that you've either accomplished or not accomplished?
Sure. I think number one is the power of belief. So you can come from anywhere. In my case, I didn't come from a bad place that drove this desire to be so successful. I came from a very vanilla place that drove me to not want to be vanilla, right? I didn't want to be telling the same dumbass story 20 years later. Like I can remember like my senior year of high school football, guys that had graduated 10 years coming into the locker room drunk on a Friday night to give us a pep talk before the game. I'm like, bro, like what this isn't the NFL here. There's like 7 of you in the stands. Like I just remember thinking that it was wild to me that the only thing these guys could still identify with 10, 12, 14 years later, they're in there going, I'd give anything for just one more game. I'm like, really? Like you give anything for one more game? Like live your life, bro. So sorry, that was a bit of a tangent, but that is how blue collar middle class the area was I grew up in. And my driver was to be able to not end up like everybody else. I wanted to be able to see the world, do everything, touch everything, experience everything. And I think a story of you can never be taught business, never come from money, never be taught entrepreneurship. You can stumble across it and just your pure belief that anything is possible. You can achieve anything. Tenacity will turn into the results that you want as long as you have picked a path that allows those rewards. And then also I'm a co-parent. So I don't know if you call that a single dad, but I co-parent, right? It's like I'm divorced. I have the kids 50% of the time. A lot of people, especially men in my entrepreneurial ventures, they go, so like how often do you live in the same city as your kids? I'm like, I live in the same. They live in my damn house. What do you mean do I live in the same city as my kids? Like I'm with my kids 50% of the time, right? So, or at least I have them 50% of the time. Obviously, they go to school and do other things. I think being able to integrate my kids into an entrepreneurial lifestyle where it's entertaining to them, it's fun for them, it's educational for them.
Mm-hmm.
But I also I drive my agenda now with them. But when they're grown up, if they're like, I'm gonna go take the most boring ass job at the whatever and sit there and then hey, I did my job. My job is not to give you money. My job is not to give you everything I created. My job is to teach you how to be an entrepreneur and teach you how to lead and teach you how to make money. If you don't want to learn it, that's up to you. So I think, that long ass rant, landing the plane is, you can come from nowhere. And if you have a pure, undying belief that you can make it, that you will, combined with, how I've integrated my kids into the next part of the journey. Matthew McConaughey, sign the dotted line.
Yeah,
that's a great question.
Yeah.
Who would play you? Go ahead.
I like to throw a little bit of the personal stuff because I know you're also about building your brand. And a lot of people see the serious side of Nick and the business side, but unless we're in your inner circle of people, just seeing some of the fun side and the personal side of you is fun for your clips as well. So thank you for indulging my somewhat personal / business questions.
I love stuff like this. And I think, anyone that's close to me knows humor is really important to me. So
yeah.
And I'm from Michigan, which means sarcasm. You have to be very fluent in sarcasm to hang out. I learned that doesn't translate well. Building an international company, sarcasm does not translate well. Jokes in some countries does not happen. In fact, this is a dad joke. The coldest crowd you'll ever find is in Finland, but they're very non-responsive, but it's also very cold there. You get it? And a question back to you. Who would play you? Since you asked the question, who would play you?
Yeah, so I'm not Latina, but I think I would like J-Lo to play me because
shooting small.
No, I like that she came from nothing and she really had to have the grit and the drive to get to where she was, And so even like when I watched the Netflix special about her doing the Super Bowl, they didn't even want to give her the Super Bowl by herself. She had to bring in somebody else because they wouldn't allow her to have the stage alone. And so I just like that, she took it anyway. She invited another Latina, and it's just women empowering women. But at the same time, empowerment is genderless. You can be a man empowered, you can be a woman empowered. So they're just lifting each other up. But yeah, I like her. I think she's really awesome. So yeah.
Well, I think I love what you're doing, and it's weird because we're in a day and age now where, because of the political environment, speaking to a niche from a business perspective and a leadership perspective is almost kind of frowned upon by some people. And I'm like, no. Like, girl, if your niche is women, don't ever talk to a guy about what I'm kidding. But it's like, if you know your niche and you know your cause, there's no better business. There's no better business than you speak. If your real cause is raising up women with financial literacy and then don't make it only women. No one else is allowed in these doors, right? Because your price point goes up, your cause, your community, your tribe, like all of it. Now, you're also leaving a lot of money on the table because everyone that won't be a part of that. But I'm all for cause marketing and niche marketing. That's what I've always done in my businesses. And anyways, so we had an awesome showdown today. Tell everyone where to find you and tell everyone about this book they need to go buy.
Yeah, so you find me Empower Her Money. I'm on TikTok, Instagram, Angela Duncan on Facebook. I think I'm on LinkedIn too. This is what happens when you sub it out because you kind of forget where you're at. My book is called Empower Your Money, and I changed the word from her to your because one of my coaches told me that there's 5 words that people Google, and money and your is one of them. Her is not. So that's why I changed the book name for it. And then just one last piece of advice that maybe you have heard before, but if you're spending time with your kids, definitely teach them from a young age. Teach them about money, teach them about business. I love what you do, Nick, but also take that a step further and find them other friends that are parents are doing the same, because my daughter's 20, she's in college, and she struggles a little bit because a lot of 19 and 20-year-olds are out partying. They don't have jobs. They don't pay for their own stuff. And so it's hard for her to relate. So when you find those kids early on they become friends for a long time, and then they lift each other up because they're being taught the same way from their parents too.
I love it. Buy the book, Empower Your Money, Angela Duncan. Next time you have an event, please let me know. I'll promote it and post it for you, but you got to ask. It's not because you're asking for help. It's because I don't know if you don't tell me. So you just say, hey, do me a favor, post this. Of course I will. Guys, you can find me at nickslinktree.com. nickslinktree.com. That's all the things are found there. If you love today's episode, please do me a favor. Put in the comments the number one thing that you loved or learned. What did you get from it? What did you take from it? And Angela, I'm grateful for you being on, and thank you for pushing to. You didn't push. You say, "Hey, can I be on?" I'm like, yeah, I'm always looking for people. So, episode 23, the Michael Jordan episode.
Michael Jordan, yeah, I love that.
It's closed. It's over. All right, everybody. Thank you so much.